Hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the new G5 line of cameras, specifically the Bullet G5. In my house I already have a bunch of G4s and G4 Bullets and Pros installed, but I want to have a look at the difference between the two products. I actually got some footage from the current installation, and then I'm going to replace it out with a G5. I'm going to open this box up, do a quick comparison, and we'll do a side-by-side and see how much better quality the G5s are and if it's worth the upgrade. But I mean, to be fair, these G5 Bullets are relatively affordable for CCTV cameras. For how, like a PoE CCTV camera, these are like really affordable. All right, let's get this opened up. So, new style boxing, it's like this gray to the white. I think maybe to cut down the ink potentially. And there's like no plastic in this box. I already opened it up, but I don't know if you've seen an Apple product. It's like that rip tab. It's all paper by the looks of it. Might be a little bit plastic in that tab, but much less plastic than it used to be. So it opens up, and then I have this upside down. And then you just pull out the camera like this, and that's it. Everything is so much cleaner these days. There's no plastic in here. In the old ones, there used to be like a plastic tray, and it used to be a mess, but reducing the plastic on these. There's obviously some screws down here. But that's the silicone grommet to make sure this is waterproof when the cable goes through there. But I really do appreciate like cutting down the plastic, because the cardboard and paper is much easier to recycle than plastic is. If the where you live even recycles plastic, that's kind of how bad it is. They say they do, but a lot of times it doesn't get recycled. Let's take a quick pause there. I'm gonna go grab the G4, and then we'll do a quick side by side. All right, so now I've got the other G4 that was previously installed. There really isn't much between. I'm gonna get rid of this box here. This plate and stuff is installed in my ceiling still, so what's gonna be interesting is I'm hoping, let's do a test fit to check this fits here so I don't have to like unscrew that from the ceiling outside. So let's try not to get this confused, think about it. So G4 is on my left here, and then this G5 is on the right here, and so let's just do it bit by bit. So let's start with this stuff. So let's just check the old existing bracket fits the new camera, but yeah, it looks like it does. Okay, cool. So the good news is if you want to do upgrade, you can leave your base plates on and you're already installed, and you can swap the camera out by the looks of it. So these look basically identical, which I would hope they would do that. Yeah, these are basically the same. Although, yeah, this is plastic. This is now plastic on the G5. Interesting. This is metal on the G4, so they've gone cheaper. That's interesting. This is, you can tell because this is definitely heavier. So yeah, this is all plastic here, which I guess makes it lighter, but that's not what I want. I want it to be sturdy, right? These are security cameras. So that's a little disappointing that they've gone for a cheaper metal there. So that's +1 to the G4. What about overall? Yeah, so this, yeah, that's a plastic casing on that one. That's a metal casing. Yeah, they've gone all plastic. That is a little bit disappointing actually. I mean, it is lighter, which I do appreciate. So apart from that, this is like all white now. So this is a white hood on here. This is a black hood. I guess it doesn't really matter. That's just aesthetics. They're both plastic as well. Lens-wise, it's hard to probably tell. Let's have a quick look here. The optics look smaller on the G5, but there's like another ring on the G5 here. But this is meant to be a bigger sensor. I think it's going from, this has a 5 megapixel sensor, 4 megapixel sensor. This is 30 frames a second, this is 24 frames a second. So slightly higher resolution. 4 megapixels is about 1920 by 1080. So, and this is, more like 2048 by whatever it is, 1280. So it's ever so slightly larger resolution. So that just means that you're just there's more pixels, more data, so that means you're just going to have hopefully a better image quality. The bigger the lens, the bigger the sensor, the more low light performance you get, just because there's basically more light coming into the sensor. But beyond that, they're basically the same. So this is definitely heavier, definitely metal. This is definitely plastic. There is some metal here still. There's like a metal ring. I guess maybe the central body is still metal by the looks of it. Yeah, looks like this bit here is metal. This bit is metal. So it looks like the outside casing, and they just kind of changed that inner casing a bit. But beyond that, they're the same. White, they've gone to this gray logo with a G5 on it. There's a blue, like their older bluer logo here. Let's go get this installed and do some video comparison of one versus the other. All right, in that top right, we have the G5. And on the bottom left, we have the G4. Now in the daytime, I don't think there's a huge difference. I think just most of the image is larger. So you just have a little bit more detail. See how the fence is bigger in the image. And the two things I'd like to point out is like that green color AstroTurf there had like a contrast of colors, and it's kind of dark on one end and light at the other end with the sun shining. And then the stonework and the column there, I like the shade and the shadows are much more clear, and that much more contrast between the dark and the light, and especially the grout on the stone. So really I think just a slightly clearer image, and then you can obviously make it a bit more detail at the back of the image there where the trees are and the pedestals are. Now in nighttime video, there is very clearly a huge win here, and definitely pause these images if you want to take a longer look at them. But as you can see there, the quality and the clarity on that nighttime image on the G5 is tremendous. You can see the tree and the branches really clearly, whereas it's a little bit more blurry, and the fence is very clearly defined on that G5. And yeah, so nighttime performance wise, this is a clear one for the G5, and just being able to see much more, being brighter. And these are the same time of day, 1 AM. So what's your take on this? What do you think you would go for? In my opinion, my conclusion is that I think if you have a G4, unless you really need that nighttime performance, it's probably not worth the upgrade for you. However, the G5s are cheaper. 100 megabit LAN makes more sense anyway. They're plastic construction versus metal, so maybe it depends where it's hanging and what the weather is going to be on. If it's going to be like a really rough position, the G4s are still a metal construction, and if it's got strong winds, I'd probably suggest that over the G5. But for that nighttime performance, I think that's the main win. If you need that nighttime performance, then for sure worth upgrading. If you're on a G3 as well, I think it's definitely worth the upgrade to the G5, especially as the price difference now with the G5s are pretty reasonable. But yeah, as for the G4, I kind of leave it up to you. There's the images there. The sound is the same, you can hear the wind, you can hear people speaking the same as you can on the G4s. No real change from what I can tell. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.